The mining colony on Kepler 442b was supposed to be just another assignment for Captain Marcus Chen. The barren planet held valuable minerals that Earth desperately needed, and his job was simple: oversee the extraction operation for 6 months and return home. But everything changed the day his survey team discovered they weren't alone. The Zalathi had been living underground for centuries, their crystalline cities hidden beneath the planet's surface. Marcus first saw her during what should have been a routine cave inspection. Lyra stood at the entrance to their world, her skin shimmering with an iridescent blue that shifted like ocean waves. Her forearms moved gracefully as she spoke, though her voice came not from her mouth but resonated directly in his mind. "You dig too deep, human," she had said, her telepathic words carrying both warning and curiosity. That first meeting should have ended with Marcus reporting the alien presence to Earth Command. Protocol demanded it. First contact situations required immediate notification and withdrawal until proper diplomatic channels could be established. But something in Lyra's eyes, all 6 of them, stopped him. There was an intelligence there, a kindness that transcended species. Against all regulations, Marcus kept the discovery secret from his crew. He returned to the cave entrance night after night, and Lyra was always there waiting. Through their mental connection, they shared stories of their worlds. Marcus told her about Earth's blue skies and vast oceans, while Lyra painted mental pictures of the Zalathi's underground gardens that bloomed in total darkness. Their friendship deepened into something neither expected. The differences that should have divided them became points of fascination. Marcus learned that Lyra was a scientist among her people, studying the surface world they had abandoned generations ago when solar flares made it uninhabitable. She learned that Marcus had become an explorer to escape the painful memories of losing his family in the water wars on Earth. 3 months into his assignment, Marcus realized he was in love. It was an impossible feeling that defied all logic. Lyra wasn't even humanoid in the traditional sense. Her body was taller and more slender than any human, covered in that mesmerizing blue skin that could harden into armor at will. Her face was angular and alien, yet when she smiled, an expression she had learned just for him, Marcus felt his heart race. The moment of truth came when Lyra touched his mind with a confession of her own. Among the Zalathi, emotional connections were shared completely, without the barriers humans built around their hearts. She showed him her feelings, a swirling galaxy of colors and sensations that translated into one unmistakable truth. She loved him too. "This is forbidden among my people," Lyra explained, her mental voice tinged with sadness. "We have laws against bonding with surface dwellers. My father leads our council. He would never accept this." Marcus took her primary hand in his, marveling at how her 6 fingers intertwined perfectly with his 5. "Then we'll make our own rules. Earth has no laws against loving someone from another world. Marry me, Lyra. Come back with me when my assignment ends." The proposal stunned her. Marriage was a human concept, but the Zalathi had something similar. A permanent melding of minds and lives called the eternal bond. It had never been attempted between species before. "Your people will fear me," Lyra projected, but Marcus could feel the hope beneath her concern. "Some will," he admitted, "but Earth is changing. We've dreamed of finding intelligent life for centuries. You could be the bridge between our peoples." Lyra's skin flickered through a spectrum of colors, the Zalathi equivalent of tears. "Yes," she whispered, directly into his thoughts. "Yes, I will bond with you." Their secret wedding took place in the crystal caves, witnessed only by the glowing stones and ancient Zalathi runes. Marcus had fashioned rings from a rare mineral that conducted telepathic energy, allowing them to sense each other's presence always. Lyra performed the Zalathi bonding ritual, creating a permanent psychic link between them. But secrets have a way of revealing themselves. Marcus's behavior hadn't gone unnoticed by his crew. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Sarah Walsh, had been tracking his unauthorized excursions. When she followed him to the caves and witnessed him with Lyra, her scream of shock alerted both the human camp and the Zalathi settlement. Within hours, everything unraveled. Earth Command demanded Marcus's immediate arrest for violating first contact protocols. The Zalathi Council, led by Lyra's father, declared her a traitor to their species. Both civilizations prepared for conflict, each believing the other had hostile intentions. Marcus and Lyra found themselves trapped between two worlds that refused to accept their love. But as they stood together, hands clasped and minds united, they knew they would fight for their right to be together. The universe had brought them across impossible distances to find each other. No force in the galaxy would tear them apart now. The real battle was just beginning. The Joint Tribunal convened in the neutral zone between the human mining facility and the entrance to the Zalathi underground city. It was the first official meeting between the two species, and it came about because of what both sides considered a crime. Marcus stood in energy shackles, facing a panel of Earth military officials who had arrived on an emergency transport. Beside him, Lyra was surrounded by a containment field generated by Zalathi technology, preventing her from using her telepathic abilities. They could see each other but couldn't touch, couldn't share the mental connection that had become as essential as breathing. General Harrison, a stern woman with steel-gray hair, presided over the human side. Captain Chen, you stand accused of violating 17 first contact protocols, endangering human security, and engaging in unauthorized fraternization with an alien species. How do you plead? I plead guilty to falling in love, General, Marcus said, his voice steady despite the circumstances. If that's a crime, then I'm proud to be a criminal. Across the tribunal space, Lyra's father, Elder Zephon, radiated disapproval. His telepathic voice boomed in everyone's minds, translated through technological interfaces for the humans. Daughter, you have broken our most sacred laws. You have shared our secrets with surface dwellers and contaminated your essence with alien bonding. Your actions threaten the safety of all Zalathi. I have done nothing but follow the true path of understanding, Lyra responded, her mental voice reaching everyone despite the containment field. Father, we have hidden underground for too long, fearing the surface and anyone who walks upon it. Marcus has shown me that humans are not the monsters our ancient stories claim. The trial proceeded with both sides presenting their arguments. The humans feared that Marcus's relationship with Lyra represented a security breach. What if she had telepathically extracted classified information? The Zalathi worried that their underground locations were now compromised, that humans would invade their sacred spaces. But Marcus had come prepared. During his months with Lyra, he had learned about both cultures' laws and found something remarkable. He requested permission to speak in his own defense. Honored representatives of Earth and Zalathi, he began, I stand before you not as a criminal but as a pioneer. Yes, I broke protocols, but I did so to prevent a greater catastrophe. When I discovered the Zalathi, my first instinct was to report it. But I knew what would happen. Military forces would arrive, containment procedures would begin, and any chance for peaceful coexistence would be lost in fear and misunderstanding. He pulled up holographic displays from his personal recorder. Instead, I chose the path of patience and understanding. Through my relationship with Lyra, I've learned that the Zalathi are not our enemies. They're survivors, scientists, artists. They've developed sustainable technologies that could solve Earth's resource crisis without strip mining planets. They have medical knowledge that could cure diseases we thought untreatable, General Harrison interrupted. That's all well and good, Captain, but you had no authority to make diplomatic decisions. No, Marcus agreed, but I had something more important. An opportunity to prove that humans and Zalathi can coexist, even love each other. Lyra and I are living proof that our species are compatible on the deepest level. Elder Xiphon's colors shifted to deep purple, indicating his skepticism. Pretty words, human. But you have stolen my daughter's future. No Zalathi will accept her now. She is outcast, contaminated by your alien influence. This was the moment Lyra had been waiting for. She stood tall, her skin blazing with determination. Father, I am not contaminated. I am evolved. The bonding with Marcus has not weakened me. It has made me stronger. Observe. Despite the containment field, Lyra began to glow. The energy built until the field shattered like glass. Gasps arose from both human and Zalathi observers. But instead of attacking or fleeing, Lyra simply walked to Marcus and took his hand. The moment they touched, something extraordinary happened. The telepathic link they shared expanded outward, creating a bridge between all present. For a few seconds, humans experienced the world as Zalathi did. Emotions as colors, thoughts as harmonious vibrations. The Zalathi felt human passion, determination, and hope in ways their purely telepathic society had never imagined. When the connection faded, the tribunal sat in stunned silence. It was Lieutenant Walsh, the one who had discovered them, who spoke first. My God, I could feel what you feel for each other. It's real. It's as real as any human love I've ever witnessed. Elder Xiphon's colors churned with conflicting emotions. Through the residual psychic link, everyone could sense his struggle. Ancient prejudices warring with newfound understanding. This changes things, General Harrison said slowly. If human Zalathi pairing can create this kind of bridge between our species, it could mean the beginning of a new era, one of the Zalathi counselors finished. But not everyone was convinced. Hardliners on both sides demanded punishment. Some humans called Marcus a traitor to his species, while conservative Zalathi insisted Lyra had committed an unforgivable sin. The debate raged for hours. During a recess, Marcus and Lyra were allowed a few moments together under heavy guard. Whatever happens, Marcus whispered, I regret nothing. Nor I, Lyra replied, her 6 eyes shimmering. But I fear this is not over. There are those among both our peoples who will never accept us. She was right. When the tribunal reconvened, a faction of human military officers led by Colonel Reeves stood up. We cannot allow this abomination to stand. If we accept this mixing of species, where does it end? Will we pollute the human genome with alien DNA? His words sparked anger from both sides, progressives who saw his bigotry for what it was, and surprisingly, some Zalathi who were offended at being called pollution. The debate threatened to devolve into chaos when alarms suddenly blared through the compound. A third party had arrived, raiders from the Vorthan Empire, drawn by the unusual energy signatures of 2 civilizations meeting. The Vorthans were known across the galaxy as slavers and pirates. They saw the gathering of humans and Zalathi as an opportunity for profit. Their ships descended like metallic locusts, weapons charging. In that moment of crisis, Marcus and Lyra didn't hesitate. Their bond allowed them to coordinate perfectly. Marcus rallied the human defenses while Lyra organized her people's response. For the first time, humans and Zalathi fought side by side. The battle was fierce but brief. The raiders hadn't expected unified resistance. When Lyra used her telepathic abilities to confuse their pilots while Marcus directed precision strikes, the Vorthans retreated, but not before broadcasting a threat to return with a larger force. In the aftermath, as both species tended their wounded together, the path forward became clear. The universe was dangerous, filled with threats like the Vorthans. Separately, humans and Zalathi were vulnerable. Together, they were formidable. Elder Xiphon approached Marcus and Lyra, his colors now soft with acceptance. You have shown us a truth we were too blind to see. Our strength lies not in separation, but in unity. General Harrison nodded agreement. Captain Chen, your methods were unorthodox, but your results speak for themselves. Earth Command is prepared to offer you a new position, Ambassador to the Zalathi, with Lyra as your counterpart. But even as hope bloomed, Marcus and Lyra knew this was just the beginning. The Vorthons would return, and there were still those among both species who opposed their union. They had won a battle, but the war for acceptance and survival was far from over. 6 months had passed since the tribunal, and the fragile alliance between humans and Zalathi hung by a thread. Marcus and Lyra worked tirelessly as ambassadors, but progress was slow. Some humans still viewed the Zalathi as threats, while conservative Zalathi elders preached isolation. Their wedding ceremony, a proper one this time, combining human and Zalathi traditions, was scheduled for tomorrow. It would be broadcast across both worlds as a symbol of unity. But tonight, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. His fears proved justified when Lyra burst into their shared quarters, her skin flashing danger signals. "Marcus, the Vorthons, they're coming. Not just raiders this time, a full invasion fleet." Through their bond, she shared the telepathic warning from Zalathi scouts. Hundreds of ships approached, armed with weapons designed to crack planets open for mining. The Vorthons had been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike at both civilizations. But that wasn't the worst news. "There's more," Lyra said, her colors darkening. "We have traitors. Colonel Reeves has been transmitting our defense plans to the Vorthons, and among my people, Counselor Thrax has done the same. They made a deal. Help the Vorthons conquer us in exchange for positions of power." Marcus felt rage burn through him, but he forced it down. "Then we stop them. Together." They raced to the Joint Command Center where chaos already reigned. General Harrison was shouting orders while Elder Xiphon coordinated with his warriors. The defense screens showed the approaching fleet, a metal storm that would arrive in hours. "We need to evacuate," one officer suggested. "We can't fight that many." "No," Marcus said firmly. "We stand and fight, but not the way they expect." He turned to the assembled leaders. "The Vorthons expect us to be divided, weakened by internal conflict. Let's show them how wrong they are." Lyra stepped forward, her mental voice reaching everyone. "Marcus and I have discovered something. Our bond doesn't just connect us, it can be expanded. Human determination combined with Zalathi telepathy creates something neither species can achieve alone." "What are you proposing?" General Harrison asked. Marcus and Lyra exchanged glances. They had been developing this theory but had never tested it on a large scale. "A unity meld," Marcus explained. "Volunteers from both species form paired bonds, not permanent like ours, but temporary connections. Human creativity and adaptability merged with Zalathi psychic coordination." Elder Xiphon's colors swirled with concern. "Such a thing has never been attempted. The risk to both species is less than the risk of annihilation," Lyra interrupted. "Father, we must evolve or die." As word spread, something unexpected happened. The younger members of both species volunteered in droves. Humans who had befriended Zalathi during the months of tentative peace stepped forward. Zalathi who had been curious about human culture offered themselves. Even some of the older, more conservative members joined, unwilling to see their worlds burn. The bonding process was intense. Marcus and Lyra guided the volunteers, teaching humans to open their minds and Zalathi to handle the chaos of human emotion. Not all pairings worked. Some minds were too incompatible. But those that succeeded created something extraordinary. Human pilots paired with Zalathi navigators could fly patterns impossible for either species alone. Human engineers working with Zalathi technicians developed weapons that merged physical ammunition with psychic energy. Human strategists linked with Zalathi prophets could predict enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. But first, they had to deal with the traitors. Colonel Reeves had barricaded himself in the communications center, still transmitting intelligence to the Vorthons. A team of bonded pairs infiltrated the facility. The Zalathi partners clouded Reeves's perception while their human counterparts subdued him. On the Zalathi side, Counselor Thrax was caught attempting to sabotage the planetary shields and was imprisoned by his own people. When the Vorthan fleet arrived, they expected easy prey. Instead, they found something unprecedented. Human and Zalathi ships flew in perfect formation, their movements coordinated by the psychic link. Weapons fired with precision, guided by precognitive flashes. Shield frequencies adapted in real time to counter Vorthan attacks. The battle raged across the planet's orbit. Marcus commanded from the flagship, while Lyra stood beside him, her consciousness expanded to touch every bonded pair. Through their connection, she could sense the entire battlefield like a living organism. "Vorthan flanking maneuver, Sector 7, she warned. Marcus responded instantly, redirecting forces before the enemy could complete their move. "All wings, execute Pattern Harmony 3. The name was apt. Human and Zalathi forces moved like a symphony, each action perfectly timed. The Vorthons, used to exploiting division and fear, found themselves facing something they couldn't understand or counter. The turning point came when the Vorthon commander, frustrated by the unprecedented resistance, decided to use their planet cracker weapon. The massive device could shatter worlds, but it required time to charge. "We need to take that weapon out," General Harrison said, "but it's too heavily defended." Marcus looked at Lyra. They both knew what had to be done. "We'll lead a strike team," he said. "Bonded pairs only. We'll use the unity meld to its full potential." It was dangerous beyond measure. The deeper the meld, the more risk to individual identity. Some pairs might not be able to separate afterward, but volunteers stepped forward anyway. Humans and Zalathi willing to risk everything for their shared future. The assault on the planet cracker was like nothing in military history. Bonded pairs moved as single entities, their ships dancing through defensive fire, guided by precognition and human intuition. Marcus and Lyra's ship led the charge, their bond so deep they no longer needed words or even directed thoughts. They punched through the defenses and delivered a psychic-enhanced warhead directly to the weapon's core. The explosion rippled outward, taking a third of the Vorthan fleet with it. Seeing their ultimate weapon destroyed and facing an enemy that grew stronger with unity rather than weaker with diversity, the Vorthans retreated. Their commander's final transmission was picked up by both fleets. "Mark this day. The humans and Zalathi are no longer separate prey. They are something new, something dangerous." In the aftermath of victory, the change was undeniable. The bonded pairs who had fought together maintained friendships that transcended species. Some, like Marcus and Lyra, chose to make their bonds permanent. Children were already asking when they could learn to bond with their Zalathi friends. The wedding of Marcus and Lyra took place as scheduled, but now it wasn't just their union being celebrated. It was the birth of a new civilization, not human, not Zalathi, but something greater than either. Elder Xiphon performed the ceremony alongside General Harrison. As Marcus and Lyra exchanged vows in both spoken word and telepathic harmony, their bond radiated outward, touching every mind present. In that moment, all could feel the future they were building, a galaxy where differences were strengths, where love could bridge any gap, where unity meant survival. "You may kiss the bride," General Harrison said with a smile. As Marcus and Lyra embraced, their skin touched, and their minds merged completely. The crowd erupted in celebration, human cheers mixing with Zalathi color songs. Colonel Reeves and Counselor Thrax watched from their cells, their hatred now impotent against the joy of two worlds becoming one. They had bet on division and lost to love. In the years that followed, The Human-Zalathi alliance became a beacon in the galaxy. Other species, seeing their success, began to reach out. The Vorthans eventually returned, not as conquerors, but as petitioners, their empire crumbling and seeking the strength that came from unity. Marcus and Lyra's children, hybrid beings with human creativity and Zalathi telepathy, became the first of a new generation that saw no difference between species, only potential friends and partners. The universe had given them a choice: evolve together or die apart. They chose evolution, chose love, chose a future written in the stars by joined hands and united minds. And in that choice, humanity proved its greatest strength wasn't in its weapons or technology, but in its ability to see beyond difference to find common ground. The war for their love had become a war for the future itself, and love, as it always does when given the chance, had won.